Imagine a time before written history, before the glow of electricity, before the very concept of nations as we know them. A time when the world was vast and mysterious, and the forces of nature, gods, and destiny held sway over the lives of mortals. These were the ancient worlds, cradles of civilization, where humanity first dared to dream, to build, and most importantly, to tell stories. For millennia, these tales were passed down through generations, whispered around campfires, etched into stone tablets, and recited in grand halls. They spoke of heroes and monsters, of love and betrayal, of creation and destruction. They are the echoes of humanity's earliest thoughts, fears, and aspirations. Today, we journey back to those forgotten eras, to unearth four of the greatest stories ever told, narratives that shaped cultures, inspired empires, and continue to resonate with us even today. Prepare to be transported to a world where myth and history intertwine, where the impossible was merely a challenge, and where the human spirit first began its eternal quest for meaning. Our first stop takes us to the Fertile Crescent, to ancient Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers. Here, around 4,500 years ago, lived a king named Gilgamesh, ruler of the magnificent city of Uruk. He was, according to legend, 2/3 god and 1/3 man, a being of immense strength and unparalleled arrogance. He was a tyrannical king, burdening his people with endless construction and asserting his will without question. The gods, observing Gilgamesh's oppressive rule, heard the cries of his people. To temper his might and teach him humility, they created a wild man, a primal force of nature, named Enkidu. Born in the wilderness, living among animals, Enkidu was Gilgamesh's equal in strength, a perfect counterpart to his civilized might. Their first encounter was a legendary battle, a clash of titans that shook the very foundations of Uruk. But after hours of fierce combat, neither could defeat the other. From this stalemate, a profound respect blossomed, and an unlikely friendship formed. Gilgamesh, for the first time, found a true companion, someone who could challenge him and see him not just as a king, but as a man. Together, Gilgamesh and Enkidu embarked on grand adventures. Their most famous exploit was their journey to the Cedar Forest, a sacred land protected by the fearsome demon Humbaba. They sought glory, to carve their names into history by conquering this monstrous guardian. With cunning and bravery, they defeated Humbaba, felling the sacred trees and bringing their spoils back to Uruk. This triumph, however, came at a great cost. Ishtar, the goddess of love and war, angered by Gilgamesh's rejection of her advances, sent the Bull of Heaven to ravage Uruk. Gilgamesh and Enkidu, fighting side by side, slew the beast. But their defiance of the gods would not go unpunished. The divine decree was swift and terrible, one of them must die. And the gods chose Enkidu. Gilgamesh watched helplessly as his dearest friend wasted away, plagued by a mysterious illness. The death of Enkidu shattered Gilgamesh. The king who had once scoffed at mortality was now gripped by an overwhelming fear of death. He saw his own inevitable end reflected in his friend's demise. Driven by an insatiable desire to escape his fate, Gilgamesh embarked on a perilous quest for immortality. He sought Utnapishtim, the only mortal to have survived the Great Flood and been granted eternal life by the gods. His journey took him across impossible distances, through mountains, across the waters of death, and into the presence of terrifying scorpion men and the ferryman Urshanabi. Finally, Gilgamesh reached Utnapishtim, who recounted his own harrowing tale of the Great Flood, a story strikingly similar to many flood myths across cultures. Utnapishtim then challenged Gilgamesh to stay awake for 6 days and 7 nights as a test of his worthiness for eternal life. Exhausted, Gilgamesh failed, falling into a deep sleep. Though he failed the test, Utnapishtim, out of compassion, revealed a secret, a magical plant at the bottom of the sea that could restore youth. Gilgamesh retrieved the plant, filled with hope. But on his journey back to Uruk, as he stopped to bathe, a serpent stole the plant, shedding its skin and gaining new life. Devastated but resigned, Gilgamesh returned to Uruk, not with immortality, but with wisdom. He had faced death, understood its inevitability, and learned to appreciate the life he had. He became a wise and just king, and his city, Uruk, flourished under his benevolent rule. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of humanity's oldest surviving pieces of literature, teaches us about friendship, loss, the search for meaning, and the enduring power of human endeavor in the face of our own mortality. From the sun-drenched plains of Mesopotamia, we sail west across the Aegean Sea to the ancient lands of Greece, where myths of gods and heroes shaped the very fabric of society. Our next story is perhaps the most famous conflict in all of antiquity, the Trojan War, immortalized by Homer's epic poem, the Iliad. The spark that ignited this decade-long war was not a clash of empires, but a single act of passion and betrayal. Helen, the most beautiful woman in the world, and wife of Menelaus, king of Sparta, was seduced and abducted by Paris, a prince of Troy. Enraged, Menelaus called upon all the Achaean, Greek, kings and heroes to retrieve his wife and exact vengeance on Troy. Among the greatest of these heroes was Achilles, the near-invincible warrior, whose only weakness was his heel. Alongside him stood wise Odysseus, mighty Ajax, and many others, commanding 1,000 ships across the Aegean to lay siege to the formidable city of Troy, protected by its towering walls and its own valiant heroes, led by Prince Hector. For 9 long years, the war raged. Battles were fought on the plains outside Troy, and the gods themselves took sides, intervening in the fates of mortals. We witness the fury of Achilles, who, insulted by Agamemnon, the commander of the Greek forces, withdraws from battle, leading to heavy Greek losses. We see the noble Hector, the true protector of Troy, fighting bravely for his city and family. The turning point comes with the death of Patroclus, Achilles' beloved companion, at the hands of Hector. This tragedy reignites Achilles' rage, propelling him back into battle, seeking vengeance. His wrath is terrifying, and he eventually confronts Hector, slaying him in a brutal duel. Achilles, consumed by grief and fury, defiles Hector's body, dragging it behind his chariot. Yet, even in the depths of war, moments of humanity shine through. King Priam, Hector's father, ventures into the Greek camp to beg Achilles for his son's body, appealing to Achilles' own love for his father. Achilles, moved by Priam's plea, returns Hector's body for proper burial. The war drags on, a stalemate. Troy's walls seem impregnable. It is the cunning of Odysseus that devises the ultimate deception, the Trojan horse. The Greeks build a massive wooden horse, ostensibly as an offering to Athena, and pretend to sail away, leaving the horse behind. The Trojans, believing the war is over, bring the magnificent horse inside their city walls, celebrating their victory. But inside the hollow belly of the horse are the elite Greek warriors. Under the cover of night, they emerge, open the city gates, and signal the returning Greek fleet. The city of Troy falls, sacked and burned. The legendary war concludes with the tragic destruction of a great civilization and the scattering of heroes across the seas on their long journeys home. The Trojan War remains a timeless epic of human pride, divine intervention, and the devastating consequences of conflict. Our next tale takes us to the ancient lands along the majestic Nile River, to the heart of ancient Egypt, a civilization steeped in mysticism and a profound belief in the afterlife. Here, one story stands above all others, a cornerstone of their religious beliefs, embodying themes of love, betrayal, death, and resurrection, the myth of Osiris and Isis. In the dawn of time, Osiris, a benevolent king, ruled Egypt, bringing civilization, agriculture, and justice to his people. He was beloved by all, and his queen was his devoted sister, Isis, a goddess of magic, motherhood, and healing, who loved him deeply. However, Osiris had a jealous brother, Set, the god of chaos, deserts, and storms. Set coveted Osiris's throne and harbored a deep resentment for his brother's popularity. In a treacherous act of malice, Set devised a cunning plot. He commissioned a magnificent, intricately decorated chest, crafted to the exact measurements of Osiris. At a grand banquet, Set unveiled the chest, declaring that he would give it to anyone who could fit inside it perfectly. One by one, the guests tried, but none could fit. Finally, Osiris, unsuspecting, lay down in the chest. As soon as he did, Set and his conspirators slammed the lid shut, sealed it with molten lead, and cast the chest into the Nile River. The chest drifted out to sea and eventually came to rest in Byblos, where a tamarisk tree grew around it, enclosing it entirely. The tree, infused with Osiris's divine essence, grew into a mighty pillar for the local king's palace. Isis, heartbroken and distraught, began a desperate search for her lost husband. Her devotion was unwavering. She journeyed far and wide, her grief transforming into fierce determination. With the help of the god Thoth, she eventually found the pillar in Byblos, retrieved the chest, and brought Osiris's body back to Egypt. But her relief was short-lived. Set, discovering that Osiris's body had been recovered, was consumed by rage. He attacked the body, dismembering it into 14 pieces and scattering them across Egypt. Undeterred, Isis embarked on an even more arduous quest, this time to find every single piece of her beloved husband. With the help of her sister Nephthys and the god Anubis, she tirelessly scoured the land. Piece by piece, she collected them, reassembling Osiris's body. However, one piece, his phallus, was lost to the Nile, eaten by a fish. Using her powerful magic, Isis fashioned a golden phallus, and then, with the help of Anubis, she performed the first mummification ritual, binding Osiris's body together. Through her immense love and magical prowess, she briefly revived him, conceiving their son, Horus. Osiris, though revived, could no longer rule the living. He descended to the underworld, becoming the benevolent king of the dead, presiding over the afterlife and judging the souls of the deceased. Isis, meanwhile, secretly raised Horus, protecting him from Set's wrath. When Horus came of age, he challenged Set for the throne, embarking on a long and epic struggle that eventually saw him triumph, restoring order to Egypt. The myth of Osiris and Isis profoundly influenced Egyptian beliefs about death, resurrection, and the cosmic order. It provided hope for an afterlife, emphasized the power of divine love, and underscored the triumph of order over chaos. It is a testament to the enduring power of love and sacrifice in the face of ultimate loss. Our final grand narrative transports us to the rugged hills of ancient Italy, to a tale of divine intervention, sibling rivalry, and the destiny that birthed one of the greatest empires the world has ever known, the legend of Romulus and Remus, the mythical founders of Rome. The story begins in the ancient city of Alba Longa, descended from Aeneas of Troy. King Numitor was overthrown by his jealous brother Amulius, who seized the throne. Amulius, fearing a challenge to his rule, forced Numitor's daughter, Rhea Silvia, to become a Vestal virgin, ensuring she would have no children. However, the god Mars, enchanted by Rhea Silvia, visited her, and she bore twin sons of divine parentage, Romulus and Remus. When Amulius discovered the twins, he was furious. Fearing they would one day reclaim their rightful inheritance, he ordered them drowned in the Tiber River. But fate had other plans. The servant tasked with the deed couldn't bring himself to drown them and instead placed them in a basket on the river. The Tiber, swollen by rains, gently carried the basket to safety, where it lodged in a fig tree at the foot of the Palatine Hill. There, a she-wolf, attracted by their cries, discovered them. Miraculously, she nursed the infants, saving their lives. Later, a shepherd named Faustulus found the twins and took them home to be raised by his wife, Acca Laurentia, as if they were their own children. Romulus and Remus grew up strong, courageous, and natural leaders among the shepherds. They eventually discovered their true identity and, with the help of their grandfather Numitor, led a revolt against Amulius, restoring Numitor to the throne of Alba Longa. With their vengeance satisfied, the twins decided to found their own city where they had been saved by the wolf. However, a bitter dispute arose. Where exactly should the city be built, and who would rule it? Romulus favored the Palatine Hill, and Remus preferred the Aventine Hill. They decided to consult the omens, seeking divine approval through augury, observing the flight of birds. Remus saw 6 auspicious vultures first. But shortly after, Romulus saw 12. Both claimed victory, leading to an irresolvable conflict. As Romulus began to build the walls of his city on the Palatine Hill, Remus, mocking his brother's efforts, leaped over the nascent fortifications. In a fit of rage, or perhaps as a necessary act to establish his sole authority and the inviolability of his city's borders, Romulus slew Remus. With his brother dead, Romulus completed his city, naming it Rome, after himself. He established its first laws and institutions, inviting outcasts, exiles, and adventurers to swell its population. To acquire wives for his new citizens, he orchestrated the infamous rape of the Sabine women, an event that led to war but ultimately to a peaceful integration, strengthening Rome's early population. Romulus went on to become Rome's first king, ruling wisely and leading his city to prominence. At the end of his life, legend says he ascended to the heavens in a whirlwind, becoming the god Quirinus. The legend of Romulus and Remus, though a tale of violence and ambition, embodies the core values of Rome, its divine destiny, its resilience, its capacity for growth, and its strong leadership that would forge an empire. From the sun-baked deserts of Mesopotamia to the battlefields of Troy, the life-giving waters of the Nile, and the 7 hills of Rome, these stories have woven themselves into the very fabric of human history. They are not merely ancient myths, they are windows into the souls of the people who first told them. They remind us of our shared humanity, our capacity for great love and terrible hatred, for courage and fear, for creation and destruction. They teach us lessons about the fragility of life, the search for meaning, and the enduring power of community. These narratives, passed down through generations, are a testament to the power of storytelling itself. They continue to captivate us, to educate us, and to inspire us, proving that the greatest stories of the ancient world are, in truth, the greatest stories of all time. Which of these tales resonated most with you? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more explorations into history and myth, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through time.